All right, DGLO breakdown. Not the best end of the week for me, but there were a lot of good things to take from the week. I picked up a lot of stuff that I think is going to help me over the next couple of weeks, and I would rather play well this next week and USDGC week than maybe play perfect this week. So that's the positive we're looking at. I'm going to break down round 2. So here we go. It's a pretty chaotic round. As I was looking back through it, it's kind of nuts how it ended up shaking out and how many different things happened that just don't normally happen. I would say I didn't have my best stuff by any means. This first one, I was definitely ready to go. Felt great about this. Just trying to throw a Draco, kind of swing it out over the OB line and let the natural stability take it back, and that worked out perfect. This it's one of the smoothest putts that came out of my hand all week, and it looked so good until it didn't, and I just could not make that putt. Right here, I'm trying to throw my Nuke OS just straight off of the tree line that it started on, just right before that little gap to the left, and threw that one as well as I could. And this one's a end of a turn. It's just a really flat one. It's an X out, and it just flies perfect for the distance that I want to. And that's after the tee shot. That's kind of a a layup for me, and then I took advantage of it. This one, there was a lot of wind on this hole, so I tried to kind of lower the flight path of this a little bit and just throw it as hard as I could. Barely got it over that branch, and then ended up in a great spot. It was a little shorter than I'm used to, so had to go ESP Flex Nuke here, and I'm trying to just start this one right on the basket and then let it do its thing. So if I get the distance right and pick the right disc, there we go. So that one couldn't have executed any better either. So 3 holes in, I stuck to my game plan perfect. Here's a Axiom Clash that it's my disc that I know is always going to turn over. There was some wind, there was a headwind, but I did not trust this one the way that I should, and I should have hung it out farther to the right. Put myself in a terrible spot. Threw what I would call a reckless shot, but I threw it perfect. Now,
oh, it did, but it took a horrible bounce. I might be parked on the next hole.
I'm narrating this.
Like, it took the worst bounce I've ever seen. I asked for it, to be fair. Like, I'm not complaining. But, oh my God. It's like somebody threw a roller from up there.
Not much that I needed to say over that one. I kind of said it all. I hit that tree right there that's right by the basket, and I got lucky off of the roll, because truly it came off the trunk of that tree, I think, and was just moving to the right. I can't believe it stayed where it did. I actually had a putt about 45 feet, and it just kind of didn't matter because there was so much in my way. This one, there was some wind off the right, and it kind of just pushed it down to the left. That shot was almost really good. Really what I should have done is stepped farther to the left and kind of moved it off of the trees on the right, but I didn't trust myself. That just kind of played scared. So we ended up here. Not great. Threw my little scuba flip tomahawk layup. It's pretty standard other than where I was. So slid that up there pretty well. Got out of there with a par. That's fine. I'm not counting on birdie there. This one's a fun one. This is my Axiom Tempo. I'm just throwing it, my stock angle, just right at that bushy circular branch that's right down the middle of the fairway before you need to turn right, and put that in a good spot. I still don't know what happened here. I feel like I remember that you can see some wind on those branches up there. It just got shoved to the ground. Like that disc, that's my fastest berg. Like it just goes the farthest. And normally, so I was 270 out, I remember, and normally I'm throwing that berg like 290 to 300. So I was honestly not worried about it doing what it did. Here's a hex that I did trust, and it just got shoved to the ground. You're gonna see the wind is definitely a common enemy throughout this whole round. you couldn't see much. I was caddy-less for this round, so some of the angles are going to be questionable, not all the way in the screen, that type of thing. This one, honestly, I'm just being a weenie. Just did not. My putting was. I had the nose angle and the control, but I didn't have the power.
Yes.
I didn't have a lot of power in my putts. This is the most wild hole I've ever played. So I'm just trying to throw a Captain's Raptor. It's one of my most stable 9 speeds. I threw it perfect. I think it probably landed 15 feet, 20 feet.
What are you doing?
It's not there anymore.
Get out of here with this.
This hole just eviscerated me this week. Had my number. This is what happened the day before.
Dang it, stop it. Just quit.
Not fun. And here's this day's upshot. I thought for sure that wind was going to pick it up and just sling it out of bounds. I mean, I didn't know what to think after that one. I'm a little all over the place mentally there because I feel like I got lucky, but then I got really, really unlucky on that last hole. I did not commit to this shot the way I needed to. I needed to push it over there farther to the right. There was so much wind, I was throwing the straighter tomahawk. The more stable one is in my left hand there. And if I was going to throw it on that line, that's what I would have thrown to get to the basket. So again, the wind making me question a lot of things. I was missing in the correct spots for the most part. And here's one where I'm throwing a destroyer, stock angle, stock speed, just right off I'm literally trying to hit the right of that tree. It got pushed a little to the left, even though it looks like the wind's coming off of the left. It almost always, I hit the side of that tree like 10 times in practice, almost always kicks it out to the right. So this is about where I was expecting to be. I didn't want to be under it, and I threw a roller because I had thrown that one a ton, and I just want to keep it under those branches. Ended up getting pushed over there. And then this one, I threw my Tui, RPM Tui, just a really, really flippy putter. It's like a -3. That's the one that I throw the little scuba tomahawk. This one right there, the worst putt of the week. Honestly, I forget sometimes that these putters just don't get really picked up by the wind, and also the wind had stopped. Just a bad putt is what it is. Got to concentrate more on that. This one, I was scared I was going to hit the spotter. That one I executed the way I wanted to. The wind just took it left. I mean, hard left. It just got really gusted. But we made up for it with a good putt right after the horrible putt last hole. It's funny how that works out. Here's that same clash, and I did trust it this time. Trying to do the same thing, basically the same shot, and I hit like the last possible branch that I could. I feel like that should have been in the circle. I thought my tempo was actually better on this putt. It's just so far uphill, didn't have much to it. This one right here, best shot of the week. Draco, just hyzer angle. Since it's going downhill, just throw it pretty hard and it'll flip it up and push it. So we almost hit the bullseye on one of the hardest holes to birdie on the course. And that was those last couple holes were awesome momentum. Felt great about where my round was at. Unfortunately, here, this happened kind of on the way down the hill on that last hole. It's something I've been dealing with since high school. I get inflammation in my knee a lot. Lately, it's been kind of swelling up. Luckily, it didn't swell up too much here, and I don't think I really did anything crazy. I think it's just wear and tear. We got some sweet moves from my guy Kevin. Had to run that one back. That was funny when I saw it on it's good comic relief from all of this nonsense. When I was watching the tape, because he doesn't know the camera's there, Kevin. Sorry, out of jail on that one, but those are sick. So here, really, on the last hole, I parred it, by the way. I didn't show the middle too. I was just frustrated. I honestly wasn't sure I was going to be able to finish the round. That was a Nuke OS. Right now, I'm just trying to throw everything off of my front left foot, where I'm kind of leaning into it and not really having to push off my right knee because it's my right one that's bothering me, and I just couldn't get any speed on anything. So really through all these shots, I'm just trying to test out where it's going to bother me. When I do that, it feels like it's going to, like when I have trouble with it, it feels like somebody's just hitting me in the knee with a hammer. And it just, right there, I switched up my putting stance, thought I threw a good putt. That didn't work out. I'm getting it to loosen up a little bit here. This one felt a lot better. I'm still kind of iffy about it. I threw this one a little harder than I normally would, and I judged it correctly, just not having as much power as I normally would. So I'm getting the judgment a little bit better. It feels like it's hurting worse on my forehands. So right here, I made what I thought was gonna be a good correction. Just threw a really stable tomahawk, but the wind was pretty heavy in our face, and it just took it straight out of bounds again, like the day before. Is what it is. I'm just trying to kind of get it in the clubhouse here. Right here, I took a chance, and I knew I was going to come over that, but I really didn't want to throw a forehand because that was really far for a forehand. I feel like I've got better control with my tomahawk, so did that. Didn't bother me too much on that big, heavy weighted landing, so I got lucky there. I didn't have any chance at the putt. I have no power on my putt because normally when I putt, I follow through by leaning on my front foot. Right here, I was just like, this is the last big tee shot of the day. Just throw it hard and try to focus on literally anything, but it just act like nothing's bothering you. And it worked out. It's kind of sporadic. So right here, we had a massive tailwind, and I threw my zone, and I was throwing it right at this tree. It hit like one piece of bark. And the reason I threw it right at this tree, we had a massive tailwind, but it was off the right. I thought for sure it was going to push it down to the left because that zone's pretty puddly. And if I throw it as hard as I did, normally it just doesn't get hit by much tailwind. Like it's going to flip it up, and just didn't. So I got really lucky there. I got pretty unlucky in some of the other pieces of the round. Got lucky in others. I don't really know what to think about that round. All in all, without putting super well, I still shot a 1035 round, 1036, something like that. I know it started, I was 1038 and dropped, and I think it might have gone back up. Worked out this round. I woke up the next day and I couldn't do much. That was the reason for the DNF, if anybody kept up. I really want to make sure I'm ready for USDGC and Smuggler's Notch. So we're going to make sure we're ready for those, resting up, making sure to take some anti-inflammatory, stuff like that. But I'm going to make sure I'm ready for the next couple of weeks. This was a fun round. Hopefully it was entertaining either way. But we'll have a lot more of these coming, and I'm excited about kind of going back through the year and showing how my year got to where it is now that I've got a lot of this stuff kind of in place. And of course, I'm going to be working on stuff on the off season. Talked to a couple of people about that today. So really excited for what's coming up, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Did a little bit different, added in way more shot tracers. Let me know if there's anything else that you guys can think of that you want to see, anything else that I would, obviously adding in all these things is a ton of work, takes a ton of time, but I want to make this thing, I want to put a bunch into it and make sure that it's well worth it and people want to watch it. So any suggestions, I'm all ears. If I can do it and it sounds good to me, then that's what we'll run with. So other than that, guys, I'll see you in 2 weeks after Vermont. Looking forward to that one. Wish me luck on that, and we'll talk then.